Have a full class. This is good news.
All
for
right,
us.
we're ready to go. I just standing here thinking about the fact that I don't understand the world in which I live. Somebody came and said they were going to have a thumbnail. I wonder, what's that? What's that? All right. Our presenter this morning is Herbert J. Strather. He's a member of the Hartford Baptist Church in Detroit. He's come to us on a number of occasions. He was with us in 1994 when we were experimenting, trying to find out whether this little format would work. And we're glad to have him back, and he's going to give us a synopsis of what Herbert Strather's Associates do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. I'm happy to be here this morning. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I was kind of roaming around the JF School of Government, this place, last place we had SLI a couple years ago. So I normally teach here in this building on Thursdays, Faith and Finance. School is out during the summer, of course, and I'm happy to be here and happy to collaborate with you. I want to give you a little background on myself, and then I would like to get into why I mainly came here is to talk to you about community development and the church's role in it. I like to call it sometimes the mega church and the minor community, but we'll delve into that. And then I want to give you something very, very specific that you can take back with you, that you can take home with you. There's a couple of case studies we're going to do on the second half. The first half, so about an hour and a half, I want to make my case to you. And in the second half, we're going to do case analysis and get involved in some really, really specific like projects that we've completed together with churches or with groups of pastors. And this modeling I would like for you to take back to your community, because time is upon us and we do not have any time to wait. As I said, my name is Strather. My firm has been around for a long time, not a long, long time, but for 35 years now. And I give you a little background really quickly. I was born in the city of Detroit, very poor neighborhood. I grew up with bumps all over my face. I stuttered, I was poor, I was set outdoors, I had no confidence. And I remember one day on the curb, my name is Herbert, and I lived on Herbert. So I'm Herbert from Herbert Street. And I said, Lord, if I ever get out of here, if I ever get out of this place, I want to come back again and redevelop my community. And I'm going to help little kids like me escape to the good life. And you know, that little kid at 12 years old seared my mind. And I got to tell you something. I don't remember a day in my life that I haven't thought about that kid, at least once. So I had a burning desire to get into real estate. This was my first transaction. Now, I said I had no money. So everything that I've done, I did it without money. That's the first thing, you understand? And you know what? It's an advantage, because once you put deals together without money, that's all you want to do is why use money? Right? You know what I mean? I had no choice. I had to structure it. So, you know, this structuring without money was very interesting, and I've done a lot of it. I've done almost $2 billion worth. You know, I've come a long ways from the kid on Herbert Street. And so I did write a book about how to do it, just strictly from my experiences, and I decided not to read anybody else's book, because I didn't want it influencing what I was going to write, because I just only want to write about what I did, how I pulled it off. This project was one of my very first projects. It was an underrented development on Myers and 6 Mile Road in Detroit. At the time, it's 190 units. I bought it for $1.9 million. Now, how would I buy something for $1.9 million? I own 50% of it. I approached a wealthy developer, and at first I found it and underwrote it, found out there was a lot of equity in it. First, you got to find a deal. You know, you can't just make a deal out of any deal. You got to find a deal through research. I found the deal, underwrote the deal, went out and found a partner. And you have to create a deal you have to model it, you have to structure it in such a way that it makes sense to the investor. If you find a deal and tell somebody else to put all the money up and give you half, how's that going to work? Their money and you get half? How does that work? Well, there's a way for it to work. In this case, I told the investor we had needed $200,000. The investor took a $100,000 certificate and bought a certificate of deposit in the bank. In other words, he put $100,000 in the bank. Then the partnership borrowed the whole $200,000 and gave as collateral an assignment of the CD that he had, plus a second mortgage on the building. Now the investor, he hasn't put any money in yet, right? He has $100,000 of his money at risk, but he still gets the same interest rate, right? He just took it from one account to another one. The project paid the note and it distributed cash. And we bought this property back then. Since then I bought them out and all, and we went on to other projects. But because right now I guess there's a $4 million mortgage on it. So real estate, once you get it, there's no real reason for you or your church to ever sell it. Matter of fact, I'm a strong advocate that churches should control the land in their community, but not necessarily being a landlord necessarily. You know, you can hold the fee simple title and hold it as ground lessor, which we'll talk about later, because you're not competing with parishioners, but you are providing an opportunity and you're controlling the circumstances around your church. And we're gonna delve into that a little bit. This was, did I go past one? This was, I probably did. Previous, okay. Yeah, this was 186 units, pretty much the same thing. Put the money in the bank, borrow it all, buy it. You know, I've sold this project twice, and I've taken it back twice. I mean, the bank called me twice, you know. They called and said, Mr. Strather, would you like to take the project back? Unfortunately, I sold it to people who didn't know how to manage very well, so I just bought it back about 3 months ago. It is a gorgeous project. Every time I get it, I turn it right around, fill it back up. It's in a community that was once an African-American community, now it's an Arab community. So I plan to go to the Arab Council and try to make a deal with them. Next, this is an interesting project in a place called Highland Park, Michigan. It's a little depressed community within our community. And Chrysler Corporation had their world headquarters there. In 1986, they closed down. I bought this building in 86. It was the most amazing thing because I got a mortgage a year later for $1 million in Highland Park. Nobody believed you can get a mortgage in Highland Park, you know. I remember, so very clever how you do it. You know, I took the guy from the airport. I had to take him past Highland Park, then get on the expressway and bring him back on the back way, you know. He missed everything, you know. Took him back the same way, you know. You know, it was a little creative way of putting that one together, you know. It's about a town, but it worked out fine. Here was a slightly different model. One of the things I tell people in your negotiations, you're negotiating with a purchaser to buy a building, but the purchaser is not the only one with interest. The title holder is not the only one with interest in the building.